2, and 1. So funnily enough, current cinema has gotten so far past this archaic, heteronormative world that opposition frames it to be. So far, in fact, that the exact opposite is actually what is harming them. Like, no, LGBTQ characters aren't rare in status quo. They're increasingly the standard. I.e. Moonlight, i.e. Saltburn, i.e. Heartstopper, i.e. Love Simon, i.e. like tons of media that you can turn to and say, oh, here's an LGBTQ character that's represented. So there's a similar enough parallel we can make here that there's a similar parallel that we can make here. So Disney has been made famous in recent times because they hire what the general public deems to be tokenistic representations of characters, i.e. making Ariel from The Little Mermaid black, making Snow White Latinx, all other such examples from Disney. The simple harm we can see here is that more and more people are growing increasingly hostile not just of the companies themselves, but the actors playing those characters. This is seen in the immense hate that Rachel Zellweger faced in portraying Snow White, or in the actor who played the Little Mermaid when she got to portray Ariel. I think her name is something Berry. What we see in this example is that this type of rhetoric and justification that is inherent in opposition side just makes films on average worse, for the simple reason that my partner already posited to you. When you make actors be subsumed by their outside identity, such as the LGBTQ movement, you limit the potential of these actors to actually participate in better roles. 3 things: rebuttal, extension, and then some weighing. Firstly, on rebuttals. Number 1, we need to understand what is the interest of these actors. It is to maximize their prominence, given that they're popular and good, but also have a long way to go. The nuance to acting is that you have to be flexible and dynamic in order to have the best career longevity as an actor. Number 2, the nature of the acting industry is to do things outside of what you want and not be reduced to the roles that you're successfully done in the past. The reason why Adam Sandler, Nicolas Cage, Shia LaBeouf pushed their careers further was because they rejected the comedic typecast roles that they would have otherwise been reduced to. We see this in Uncut Gems, Family Man, Eagle Eye, Disturbia, wherein you saw their serious and dramatic side as opposed to the typecasted role that they had. Number 3, LO tells us that they have lobbying power and that they aren't going to choose these roles all of the time. Firstly, that's a soft stance. Their burden is why they need to support a lot of these roles more often than not. A trade-off has to be made. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So yeah, secondly, even if these roles can evolve through this court, it's still gonna be such a harder thing. More on that in my arguments. 3, LO tells us that you can tweak the script and contribute so much. That sounds nice, right? But in reality, that's not how it works. Because not all actors are producers, directors, and scriptwriters. Even if you are prominent and you have leverage, your job should be to perform your role well and execute it well. You shouldn't make your burden harder than it is when there's so much pressure to have to be a one-man show, writing, acting, and making it all work together as a producer. My partner's POI was about strategy. If you put all your eggs in one basket, you set them up for being pushed to the fringes of Hollywood. Why is that likely? If you could not succeed in a role tailor-made for you, then why should you be rehired? There's more risk on their side. Lastly, regarding the backlash from not accepting the role. This happens either way, but you shouldn't be at the mercy of fans and stand up for what you think is best for your career, even if it goes away from the path ascribed for you, simply because that's the nature of acting when pushes you the industry outside their woke and far-leaning comfort zones. I have 2 extensions. 1, why rejecting these roles offsets the current degradation of cinema and why that's actually good for the actor. So what is the current status of cinema? We tell you that the overwhelming consensus surrounding it right now is that it sucks. Movie sucks. The allure we once had with cinema is gone and replaced with this general cynicism that the vast majority of the mainstream movies that we see are either gonna be bad in a terrible way, or probably a Disney or Marvel movie. And this problem extends itself by the very nature of the fact that current movie discourse surrounds itself under this woke type of agenda, woke type of ideology, instead of actually making a good film first. So instead of making good characters, they make good caricatures of certain stereotypes. So piece of impacting them. Because of current discourse, there's an apparent dichotomy of making a good film and making a representative film of the LGBTQ. This is why it is increasingly harder to make a good film because you have all these barriers that inhibit your choice in screen tests for these characters. Why is the film industry setting itself back because of this? We tell you that in Ops world, as my PM made it perfectly clear in his speech, you contribute to yourself being tokenized and typecasted in a particular frame. Especially since you're a prominent prominent trans actor that sets the standard for others as well, that the most successful members of the trans community play the same type of character over and over again. How does rejecting these roles impact the industry as a whole for a better way? We tell you that in rejecting these roles, you as the actor open yourself up to new opportunities you could have never imagined before. Like, this is pretty obvious to understand, as my PM mentioned, right? That sure, you may limit your own experiences as a trans person, but we tell you that is precisely what is important in pushing them outside of their comfort zone to evolve as an actor. All of which was already mentioned by PM. We tell you it's good that you are a prominent trans actor. You get two exclusive benefits on our side. Number one is that you send the narrative that you're not going to stand for playing the same character over and over, that you're actually going to branch out and play more diverse characters. And number two, as you are prominent, you yourself create the standard for other trans actors that they don't have to put themselves only in one typecasted position as currently exists in status quo. Second extension, really quickly, how these actors can still help the LGBTQ movement even if they reject these roles. So opposition mentioned a lot of things that surround how to better help the LGBTQ community on their side. So three responses, right? Number one, we tell you that even when you don't participate in the movement, when you currently have a role, they're perfectly able to donate and support either silently to whatever causes they support, or when they're outside of the role that they're acting in, they're able to fully support it well. So that still exists on our side. Second is that in status quo, LGBTQ are already represented, and in fact, if you reject these trans roles, you actively give other less prominent actors a chance to get their names out. I think this is where opposition failed to nuance the discussion towards the prominence aspect of the actor, because guess what? Either way, you're probably still going to be fine. Lastly, it's just good business and behavior, especially for the actor. Even if you can handle the spotlight, you're going to be used as a social battering ram for other people to be able to represent them. We think that even if you're a supporter, that really isn't your burden. So we tell you that the interests of the actor, while sure maybe are subsumed by the interest of the LGBTQ movement, we tell you that's just not their burden. They can have a lot of help otherwise, even if they don't take these roles, and for all of those reasons, proud to propose. Thank you.